hi there, we are finally in Costa Rica and we actually want to tell you a little bit how we got there and what were the steps we needed to take to actually get here. So Henry, what we're going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about basically everything we went through. It was basically a month-long journey from the moment that we found a buyer for our apartment. We started to plan everything. And from there, we had a bunch of stuff to do. And we took it day by day. And as the weeks progressed, it was more and more intense because there was a lot of things we needed to do. But let's just go into it. So the first thing we had to do was we had to prepare our cats for the trip, because there were quite a lot of papers and vaccines and checkups that we needed to do. So very early on, we needed to go to the veterinary. We went to the veterinary, we had them checked up, we got all the vaccines they needed to get.
Passports,
papers.
Yeah, we are coming from EU, so Europe, and Costa Rica is not Europe, so you need a little bit different papers. Here is things a little bit different, so definitely even our veterinarians didn't know exactly what do we need, to get here. So the vaccines, are they like the right ones that they are asking from us? And we kind of searched all of these on our own. We didn't really know what specific vaccines, what kind of medications we need to take, because Costa Rica doesn't have exact...
They don't have it so specifically written out. And the first time we went to the vet, we got the papers done. And then we found out some additional requirements, so we had to go again and do the papers again. So after we got our cats planned, to the most part, we had to deal with selling the apartment, which meant moving all the things, also preparing papers, going to the notary, communicating with the buyers, getting everything in order. And we were moving our things for like 4 days or something. Almost the full days. It was a pretty big marathon.
Yeah, but we didn't have so much things, like a couple of couches, TV, bed. I needed to put my clothes away and all the kitchen stuff. That's what we had a lot. And yeah, it wasn't much. I think some other people would have so much other things. So 4 days, I think it was good. I already started packing like a week before, some weeks before even, and it went smoothly. Yeah,
it went pretty smooth. It's just that you think you have little things, but then it's still you have more things. So it's always you have to be prepared that you think you have one thing, be prepared that you will have another thing. Because at some point we thought that, okay, we're pretty much done, but then we still found things in the cupboards.
Still, like, we lived there almost 7 years, so there's stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, and some things we sold, a lot of things we gave to our family members, which was much easier. But moving, it's usual, it doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna have to move your things. It's just that in our case, we went to the other side of the planet, which meant that we can't really bring a lot of things. So we also left behind like blenders and juicers and food processors, things that we would have liked to bring with us.
Yeah, actually I'm really missing my juicer, my blender, my dehydrator, my food processor, all these things that I use to make these raw foods, even vegan plant-based foods. And here, like, I'm craving to be more raw and, wanting to do some nice wraps or these gourmet dinners, but I don't have my things. So simple meals all the time right now. But, we are searching, buying some new stuff here, and you start your journey from another place and you need to start everything from the start. And yeah, maybe I can bring something from Estonia again here as well eventually, but also I want them right now already.
We pretty much came here almost like just going on a vacation. Maybe we had an extra suitcase, but not really much more.
Like we had cats and stuff with them, and our things, already too much things, like we couldn't take any other things. It was already stressful to have cats with us, to make sure they are good, fed, clean, everything. And we didn't want any more pressure or things to control and take.
I think we had about 4 suitcases.
Like 2 little ones and 2 big ones,
Yeah, yeah.
plus packed bags where was my food, our food
Yeah.
mostly, and cat food. But yeah.
So it's just like we just bought our laptops, some basic electronics. I even managed to fit one computer screen for work.
Yeah, Andrew took the whole computer screen.
How do you feel after selling the apartment?
I can show you a video how I felt. So this is our empty home. I'm so sad actually. It's just so nice and cozy. It's been my home nearly 10 years and it's been my safe place, and just, you know, it's really near to my family. And but inside I know it's the right decision, but I didn't know it's going to be so hard to let go. And I don't know why I'm so emotional. I think it's just so much for me. I know better is waiting for me, or you know, it doesn't need to be better, it's just more convenient, more in nature, more, you know, abundant. It's just winters are so hard here, and I need sun in my life. I haven't seen proper sun for a long time. I just need the sun all over my body, and I just can't do it every winter, every year. It's like amazing summer, and then the winter comes, and it's just months and months. There's darkness. It's set back, you know, for months for my body, and it's not working for us. But I'm just sad that my family is here, and you know, they are so dear to me. Yeah, I just hope everything figures out. Everything will go well. My cats are already at my mother's house. They are quite scared there as well. They don't know what's going to happen. Next day, after tomorrow, we are going to Costa Rica. We drive with the plane and the cats are coming with us. And yeah, I think all of this, you know, the cat thing and selling the apartment, going in a country where I don't know anything, it's just so overwhelming for me, and that's why I'm just like so sad. And we have had a long days as well. After selling my apartment, it was very hard for me emotionally, because we've traveled so much, and the last few years have been quite adventurous. We have been doing so many things that are out our comfort zone, so I felt a little overwhelmed this time with this apartment selling again, you know, going to a new place, and I'm really craving settling down and really being on one place and creating my life there. But we knew that Estonia isn't serving our goals. We're a little bit holding us back, but you know, it was still my home that I created, that I really thought I'm going to live there forever. And you know, selling this was a very big deal for me, because my family were very close to me, my grandmother, my mom, all the stores, everything. It was very comfortable way of living, and coming to completely different place where you don't even know what's waiting for you, because we haven't been here. before was very, very overwhelming for me. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was crying a lot. And yeah, I still think about it, and I'm like, a little bit sad, but at the same time, I don't feel it was the wrong decision. Even if I want to go back someday, I can buy another place, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. And how do you feel, Henry?
I think you were feeling emotions like rather soon in the process. For me, it took some time. So I think actually when we were moving things, then I kind of started to really realize what is happening and that this is going to be like fairly final, at least with that apartment. So definitely I had some sad moments. We had a lot of memories there. We were kind of leaving this big part of our life behind with our routines and friends and family and so on. But I also think it wasn't the wrong decision. I think it was the right decision. No matter if we stay here in Costa Rica or not, I still think it was the right decision. It was difficult, but also things went fairly smooth. The signs were pretty good that things were going pretty smoothly, you know, like we managed to even sell our car in the process just 1 week before we left, basically, which I was getting a bit worried that if we don't manage to sell it, then I need to get some family member to sell it, and that makes it a lot more complicated, because also when we arrived here, the plans were that we need to buy a car, but part of the funds would be from selling the old car. So everything actually went rather smooth, so that was good, you know. It was challenging, but it went fine. Of course, with any kind of move, if you've lived long in a certain place and your whole life is there, it's going to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely was, but at the same time, you know, like changes happen and sometimes we need some change.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We were thinking about this move already like 5 years ago. And 2 years ago, we started to think about it very, very seriously. But things got in the way and we couldn't do it right from the bat. But this time we came back from Spain and we were like, yeah, we're selling the house. And they told us actually that it's going to take at least half of year to 1 year. And we were like chilling, like, yeah, whatever, like we have time. I would have loved to spend the last, Estonian summer in Estonia, because it's the most beautiful time there ever. But we needed to leave because we found buyers very, very soon. It took us like 2 months or something like that.
Well, we started selling in January, and beginning of May or like end of April we had. So it took like 4 months. But after we packed our bags, we only had a few days before our flight, actually, after even signing off the keys to the new buyer of the apartment. So we were staying at Relika's mom's place for a few days together with the cats. It was a very transitional period where there was, like stuff everywhere.
Because my mom took a lot of stuff from our home and her place were like full of stuff, and then we went there with our 2 cats. Our cats were like, what the heck, why we are here? They were like hiding themselves, and I was so embarrassed because all our stuff we brought to my mom's, and then 2 days later we are off and she has all this stuff, but she wanted these things, and yeah.
And for those 2 days we were basically like still doing things every day. Like I had to print a lot of papers, we had to bring cash, exchange money, like
yeah,
we were packing, like through the night basically. We didn't even sleep the last day.
No, the last day, because we needed already to be in the airport like 3 a.m. so we didn't have really time to even sleep. But yeah, the last days we saw like people, like our friends and family, and yeah, it was very packed days.
Very intense days. Like you didn't have a moment to reflect even. You were just like doing things, packing, meeting people, getting some things in order. So that was intense. Got to our flight, we said our goodbyes.
Yeah, my mom and granny were so sad, and yeah, we cried a lot, and they were, sending us away.
And even my best friend Mark, he was there as well.
Yeah, he came as well.
Yeah, so yeah, we went through the security with the cats, which was very stressful.
Very stressful because the cats were so confused. We actually gave them some natural relaxing pills, and then we had medications from the doctors as well to, make them a little bit more calmer. But they were still very confused, screaming.
And there were so many people at the airport, 100 people in the security control, so it was very loud.
Very loud, very much people.
Hectic, very stressful.
But
even for us, if we would
yeah.
not be there with cats, it would be very stressful.
Yeah, very stressful. But they were actually letting us ahead, the security. Yeah. So because we were with our cats, that was so amazing. So it kind of went still quick for us, and we got through with our cats.
Yeah, we had to hold them, and but I guess we can, talk in a separate video about all the details about how to go with the cats through the.
From EU to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, security went rather quick because we were led ahead, and then we were waiting some time in the airport. Also, the check-in went really smooth. We had to pay for the cat luggage and also an extra bag, and that all went smooth. And the first flight was 3 hours, I think, to Zurich, where then we had a connecting flight, which we almost missed.
Yeah, we missed actually because it was 1 hour long. And the first thing we got off from our first flight, we went to the bathroom with our cats so they can, come out, they can pee, do their own things, and we can feed them. But it took us for half an hour. So I needed to give them another medication. It was 16-hour flight ahead of us. 12.
Well,
12.
It was 16 hours total.
Total, so, yeah. So I needed to prepare them correctly so we can have our long flight, because I don't know if I can take them out there. And it took us half an hour. So we had half an hour to the next flight, and
we didn't realize that. We thought that the terminal or gate is somewhere close. Then when we actually started to go, we realized that we need to take a transfer train actually.
Yeah, and it
showed there it's gonna be 20 minutes, and then we were like, oh no, this is gonna be long.
I was so freaked out, and Henry was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it. And I was just how do you don't know? What are you telling? I was just calling to the airport, and I was like, hey, we are on the transfer train. Can you tell them to wait for us? We're going to make it. And then the info person said that you're not going to make it. You're already late. They're already. It shows that border is open still, but I don't think they're going to take you. And I was just what I'm going to do with my 2 cats? I'm here in Zurich. I had this big flight. I was so stressed out. Already we had so much stress from coming there, and now this thing, it was our fault because we were so long time in the bathroom, and then the 20 minutes were 5 minutes actually.
The train went really quick, and they would have to at least announce it or something that that they're gonna leave or something.
Yeah.
So I was they can't just leave us behind.
Yeah.
But we were okay, we're just gonna run for it. So we were just running through the terminal,
I was
cats were meowing.
Yeah.
We had them on these strollers.
We were just rushing through the people, but we made it, and they were still, people were boarding on the plane, and they were hello.
We just made it in time. They weren't even
no,
waiting for us or anything. They were just boarding people normal.
Yeah, and we made it perfectly. We didn't need to wait anywhere. It was actually working out very great.
We just
for
had
us.
this extra adrenaline rush. So I think even if we would have walked, we would have made it easily. Without running, it would have been fine, but better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So we made it, and then we had our long flight with the cats.
Actually, the first flight were more difficult for me emotionally than the second flight. The second flight, they were kind of tired already, and we actually got our blankets and we put the blankets on to the cats, and they were kind of sleeping.
The first flight, they were kind of meowing and getting a bit anxious in their boxes. But the second flight, they were already, like you said, more tired, and I think also we had a better position. We were kind of back in the aircraft, so we didn't have anyone behind us and no one on the side. So it was also like they were more isolated from everything.
Yeah. But yeah, the flight actually, we were riding through the day, so it wasn't hard at all for me because it was light, and it's so hard to actually sleep on the plane, and it's so much better for me if it's time and you can do your stuff and it's not dark and you can maybe watch movies, read, whatever you want to do there.
Yeah, I think I still had few, even though we were, like every few hours we had to like check up on the cats and like take them to the toilets just to like give them something to drink, eat, clean their pee. But I still had, I think, maybe a few hours of sleep actually. The flight was actually not that bad. It was just that, we had to do 2 flights in a row. But just the one flight on its own, it was actually not that bad.
Yeah, and I took a lot of fruits with me, some raw food. I made raw wraps with me, and dates, cucumbers, just keep myself hydrated, energized, so I can still be alert if I have these kind of 2 cats with me. And we had a 24-hour ride ahead of us, and I wanted to feel good on this flight. It's usually like airplane food is not bad, it's okay, but it's very, very high sodium rich, so I don't really want to eat that on the plane because I get easily, when I eat like high sodium things, I get easily, inflamed and bloated, and, I don't need that extra thing to worry about when I'm having, such a huge flight. And yeah, I'm always bringing stuff with me on the plane, like cutting up some watermelon. I added extra sugar to add even more energy. And yeah, they let you bring any fruit you want, and it's actually easy, but you need to prepare your stuff.
And you need to eat them on the plane because you cannot take them to the other country, but you can have it on the plane.
Yeah, when we arrived here, they took my 1 lemon, 2 cucumbers away. Like, no.
Yeah. Actually, I ordered us like vegan meals and I ate both of them because Reilika didn't want it, so I had both of them, which they were not that bad. It was, like some...
They weren't so oily.
Some bulgur with some kind of bean curry or something with some broccoli in tomato sauce.
How did you feel, like a little bit inflamed or like dehydrated?
I didn't feel the worst. I have felt a lot worse before sometimes when I've had some airplane food, but that's also because usually I've also eaten some cooked food before. But I think because I had, fruit before and then I only had the cooked food on the plane, it was not too bad. It was okay. It's not the best, but
they're serving all the time water and juices. I drank a lot of orange juice, packaged orange juice there as well.
We were flying with Swiss Airlines, and every few hours they were bringing us, they were, offering you drinks, and we always had some orange juice.
It was nice.
The flight was not the worst, but how do you feel about the flight? Would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it wasn't the worst at all. I would, like with cats.
Yes, with cats.
Yeah, no.
No.
Like if I go like to Estonia and come back, then it's okay. But it's with cats.
It's like if I think about it, I'm like, it's a little bit traumatic to think about it, like that I would have to do it again. It was extremely exhausting, just because you're worrying about not only yourself. I mean, you don't really have to worry about yourself, but you're worrying about some other animals, and you have to make sure that they're fine, and so you have this constant stress that are they fine?
Even if they are quiet, you're like, are they alive? Like, really, like is he moving? Or you're just all the time alert. But still, if we don't want to move, be here, we need to eventually, relocate. So we need to do it again if we don't want to, stay here forever. But it wasn't that bad. And like, I don't want to frighten anyone. It was just a lot for us, like before, like this moving and everything, and we were tired. And Yeah, it is a lot to this little
Yeah,
animal
yeah.
as well, like changing like so much, and they never really, traveled. If you have a cat and it's used to travel and ride with planes and cars, then it's so much easier for you. But our cats, they don't like to, drive with things at all.
Yeah, yeah. This was a marathon, and that's why it was hard. It's not the one step that's hard. It's the 50,000 steps that you have to take one after another. That's what makes it hard. If you take each part, like this part about the cats when you had to, board the plane or be on the plane, separately they're not hard. But just because you're doing these things in a row, like multiple days straight without much sleep and with a lot of stress, that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And you're always thinking like, is it going safely in this country? Are they going to question us?
Yeah, there's always something you're thinking about.
Is there any
yeah.
papers missing, or are they sending us back? You're always thinking like, is it going to be smooth this time?
Because the flight was just one thing, but then we arrive, we have immigration, which took more than an hour, I think.
Yeah, there were so many people.
Such a long queue.
Yeah.
That was that was even more stressful than the security control, because it was also hot. It was very hot, a lot of people, very loud, a lot of movement. So that was also very stressful for the cats. The immigration actually went very easily.
Yeah. The immigration lady, she was asking where we are going and where we are, staying, and we were saying all the things, and then we said we have 2 cats with us as well, and she was like, okay, cool. And she didn't look, and we said again, we have 2 cats with us as well, and then she was, oh yeah, and then she came out and she came to look our cats. Like,
and she was just like, oh, I have cats too, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, cute cats, like, and we were like,
and I was like, what about
papers?
And she was like, oh no, that's later,
Yeah.
It's like...
So she came out just to see the cats. It was funny. Like, we were insisting to her, like, to see our cats.
Because we had no idea. We just wanted to make sure that we're not doing anything illegal,
Yeah, bringing on some animals.
Yeah, but we didn't have to, even show a return ticket or anything. They just gave us the 180-day stamp. And so then we had to continue to the customs where, you have to put all the bags through this scanner. And then we were like, oh, we have cats. And then there was this one person, yeah, like just do your bags and then come to me with the papers, Just some fairly young guy, like he was very friendly. So we just showed him the papers. He just looked at the paper and was like, okay. That was it.
Yeah. We were like, oh my God, all this stress for this.
And then he just came and he just looked at the cats like, okay, 1 cat, second cat, okay, good.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say it was more like, in our mind it was stressful, but the traveling like to point A to point B wasn't that stressful. Like, actually it's very easy to travel with animals. If you're wanting to bring your cat, it's just a lot of paperwork.
And with the paperwork, it's just that, like, you never know like what is actually needed. There's this long list of things, but I mean, this guy, he just looked at the paper. I don't know if he even like...
He took the paper as well.
If he checked the details or anything, but yeah, that was much quicker and easier than I expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we still had to continue on, like we had to drive 2 hours. For that, we needed to go to the car rental, which we found fairly quickly. So there was a sign or something, but basically we just said, oh, we have this car rental.
You go out and they are waiting for you to bring you to car rental.
Yeah, and they asked like, oh, do you have this one? And I was like, yeah, that's the one, I think, So then there was a transfer car, like a minibus, which there was a few other people as well. Yeah, but it was a short drive. The cats were already so tired, so they were just chilling at that point.
They were accepting their reality now.
Yeah, and so we arrived at the rental place, and then Relika was waiting with the luggage and the cats, and I went inside. And then I realized that apparently this was the wrong rental place. So there's 2 major ones. One is called Adobe, and the other one is called Alamo. So we had a reservation with adobe, but to me it sounded so similar, and I was, hadn't had any sleep or anything.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh yeah, let's go with this. This looks like the place. We took the transfer and we arrived there, and then he was like, okay, if you prepaid, then you probably have to go there,
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, I didn't pay anything. So I was like, can you just, make me an offer?
Yeah.
This is what I should pay in the other place. You can give me a similar car, similar offer, then we can go with you, And that's what they did. We got a similar car, so it was not a problem. We even had 4-wheel drive, which before the one we reserved was 2-wheel drive. And the price was very similar, so we just went with that. It was very smooth.
No problems. A very normal car that we got.
Yeah, and we, before actually arriving to Costa Rica, we prepared our SIM cards, which are eSIM cards, so electronic. We got them from Nomad, and we could already set them up before. So when we arrived, we just basically had it right away.
It was already exactly both for us, and it was so easy. So we can, you don't need to start connecting some Wi-Fi or
and you don't need to go buy a SIM card in some
very easy
office or something, right?
And very good internet as well.
Yeah, it's very, very decent. And the only thing is that you don't get a phone number, so you only have the internet. If you want the phone number, then you need to get it locally. You need to get an actual SIM, and you need to go with passport and stuff. But we don't actually need that. We just need the internet. So, we could just use Waze. This is what they use here instead of Google Maps. And then we just put in our destination and we started to drive in this very unfamiliar traffic, which, it was not the worst. In San Jose, it was a bit more hectic.
No, but the city itself isn't super crowded it has just these kind of narrow roads and up and down a lot, but you don't have this crazy traffic like you have in Thailand or
actually it's not as crazy as in Thailand.
It's better, it feels like a small city, San Jose. We haven't been exactly in the city, but it was still going out from there. I think this took us the longest time to actually get out from San Jose because of the roads, not for the traffic.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And
no.
The only thing is that if you're in some small city, then you have a lot of cars parked on the side. People are stopping or going, so you have to be really cautious so you don't hit anyone who might cross the road, or you might have some scooters going by, so you always have to
just be
check.
But otherwise it was very, very calm.
It was fine until we got to the mountain roads. Which then it started to rain very, very, very heavily. We got this, full-on tropical rain. Yeah. And it was also getting dark because it was already 5 p.m. So that was a bit scary because it was very curvy roads, and there was, water flowing across the roads in some places. But still, it wasn't too bad. It was manageable.
The roads are quite new and I would say very good condition, in a very good condition. But the rain made things difficult because we didn't know the road as well and we didn't know what's coming. But take it slow, ride very slow.
Yeah, be careful, because sometimes there can be some debris on the road or some kind of fallen trees and stuff, and
animals. So
you have to be super careful. When we arrived finally to our location,
I think the last hour were the most difficult because the cats were so done. They were screaming in the car.
The first hour they were quiet, but then they kind of maybe they wanted to pee,
they were so done with this 24-hour challenge we made them go through. But we made it finally here. It wasn't hard at all. And
we were greeted by Don and Nikki, who are the people who prepared the apartment for us. So they are the agents, I would say, right? Who are doing the things between the owner and us. And they were very friendly and showed us
everything.
Although we didn't have any electricity, it was actually because they are cutting trees here.
Oh.
And one of the workers, they just, cut the tree and it fell on the electricity line. So it wasn't even, like a natural disaster or anything. Yeah, so they said that, it's going to be fixed soon, but, the next day it was fixed. So that was fine.
Yeah, but again, we came here pretty late, like 7 or something. It was very dark already, and the house, were a little bit humid, like not much air in. And we had our cats and
didn't see much.
we didn't see much. And the next day, Henry needed to go to the city again, to San Jose, to buy a car. And I knew I need to be here alone without electricity, with these two cats. Extra stress. And Henry actually went to the store in the night as well to buy me some kind of food.
Yeah, because
for
tomorrow. I would in the morning I have to leave already, and we didn't have anything to eat. So.
And I am far from the city as well. I don't have anything. So he went to the store, and I was here alone, and I was like, oh my God, I don't feel good at all. It's just so weird. I'm a little bit afraid. Like, I have jungle around me, and the cats were like a little bit crying, like, where are we?
Yeah, they were just confused, like, where the hell are they?
Confused.
Like, what is happening?
And I was so tired as well, but Henry came back, and we had our night sleep. We went to sleep, and actually I kind of slept well, and the cats were like sleeping with us as well, and it was kind of, we were all on the same bed and having our night sleep, and we woke up like 4 o'clock, and Henry needed to already start driving like 6 o'clock, so we had like little breakfast. And
I even started like 5, driving, because I needed to be there by 7 basically.
Yeah, like
so it was 2-hour drive, and I was really, really tired to do that, but I just knew that if we get it done now, we'll be better off, because we don't want to pay for the rental car. And also we had an appointment with a guy who helped me find the car and get all the papers in order. He like referred me to an attorney and made sure that we were doing everything correct to have the best result.
Yeah, and Henry definitely is going to talk in another video, how did you buy a car here, like second day when you arrived, and it's definitely something worth of listening, and if you want to come here too, because renting a car isn't that cheap here.
Yeah, but in short, we rented a car for like 8 days. I consulted with Steve, he was our guy, and he said you need about a week, for all the papers and stuff. But then, on the first day we found a good car, we made an offer, and a few days later we signed the papers and got the keys. It wasn't too bad of a process. It was Reelika was there as well, because we needed to go to San Jose to, drop the rental car off as well. So we needed to drive, like Reelika drove the new car to the rental office, and I with the rental car, and we returned the car like 4 days before, and also to a different location. Then we didn't have to pay anything for the returning it to a different location, and also we got the money back for the 4 additional days that we didn't use the car. Which was very, very good. I didn't expect that, So we actually ended up paying only like $150 for the car rental.
I think when we got here, what kind of picture I had from Costa Rica, that you need to be very careful, that everyone wants to, and it's not safe at all, and all these stories were in my head, but now I see it's not that bad. Absolutely, you need to be careful in any country you are at, but I felt more unsafe in other areas in this world than here.
And you need to know the right people, and you need to have a good judgment about people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, when we were renting this place, we didn't even know what we were renting. We've never been here before. And because of that, initially we wanted to get an Airbnb, because you get more like safety with that, right? You're protected if something is not correct. But because Don was very authentic and transparent, I felt with him like very safe. So
he was all every day, contacting with you, sending you voice messages, like how he's, waiting for us, and how he, bought our new pillows for us.
Videos of the property, and he had lived here before, and I just, like the rapport we built, I just knew that I can, trust him, and also the owner seemed very legitimate. So we just, signed a small like official contract, and I just wired the money, and I mean, here we are, and the place is great, you know, like I have no regrets about it. We're finally here, we have a car, we have a place where to stay, so we actually don't have to run around anymore and stress.
Yeah, exactly. I think like every day gets better and better. I'm getting more used to the new way of living. But I would say I would have loved to travel before here as well, rather than coming to live here right away when you haven't seen the country. Just to be sure, know more where I'm coming to. Even the, you know, culture, everything, you know, it's so different. The stores, I can just be more prepared, and I think that has been a little bit more stressful for me. You know, it's so different.
The initial shock is just so much bigger because everything is new, right?
Like, I haven't been much in America, like one time in San Francisco, but we went to mostly like Asia, you know, Thailand, Bali. Yeah. But I was like thinking maybe it is more like Asia, you know, but it's not. It is different. And every day I find new things that I like here, but I do find things that I don't like as well, and maybe I like that home more. But it's with everything like this, you know, like there's things at home that's not in here, and there's things here that's not in home, and it's always like this.
And right now you say home as in back in Estonia, right? Mm-hmm. But at some point you might say that home is somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Initially I was like, it's so hot here. I was a little bit disturbed by that because I was tired as well, and my mind goes like, oh my god, it's forever like this, you know, every day is like so hot. That's what I wanted. But it's not so hot. Like today in the mornings it's sometimes chilly, even you can put something on, and today it has been very normal, and actually it's very nice weather. Like I remember in Thailand I couldn't even hold my hair open because I was sweating all the time. They were like so wet. But here, you know, like it's actually like normal. It's like 28 degrees or something like that, like throughout the day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, here we are, and this was our journey. And yeah, we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about how we're settling in, what's our home looks like, and what kind of wildlife we have around us, waterfalls, beaches, everything. We're going to show you where we are at and what we're going to discover here.
Yeah, and how we feel about all of this. The surroundings and how our routine looks like now and how it's different from what it was before.
Yeah, and are we going to find this home feeling here, or maybe it's somewhere else? Let's see. Okay, thanks for watching and see you soon.
Yeah, bye.